We are at the M&A Advisor Distressed Investing Summit in Palm Beach, Florida. Our guest right now, Peter Kaufman. He's president of the investment bank Gordian Group. It's a distressed investment banker. And Peter's been involved in some of the interesting deals as of late, and those deals that have been in the news, specifically AMR and also Hostess. So let's kick it off, though, more broadly, Peter. In terms of the distressed universe, how does it look right now?
Well, it continues to be a little slow, and that's because with interest rates so low, hedge funds and other financiers are desperate for yield. So they're financing out a lot of capital structures that in prior cycles wouldn't merit receiving refinancing money against the debt maturity wall.
There's a lot of liquidity out there.
There's a lot of liquidity out there. Even so, there are companies that might be pretty good companies in the abstract, but still they have too much debt, and even they are not the best students in the class and can't access even this ebullient refinancing market. And so, that's the place where we're doing a lot of work, more for private equity firms that have portfolio companies that fit that description. Any
sectors in particular at this point?
No.
We talk a lot about retail because we're watching JCPenney, we're watching Best Buy. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we're doing more in traditional Rust Belt areas, as well as some technology. Really across the board, and not a lot. We're not doing a lot of retail these days, although we have done so historically. But that's really the overall theme.
One company that I think we've all been obsessed with. It's not huge, but it plays to a lot of people's history growing up, and we're talking about Hostess. And you were advising the Hostess Baker Union, or you are advising them still.
Correct.
Frustrating that didn't work out.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Okay, but what do you anticipate will happen?
Our bakery union continues to stand ready.
But I mean, initially, were you frustrated that it didn't kind of work out so that the whole company could kind of stay together?
Well, we were late to the party. We were engaged about a month or 5 weeks ago. So it was not on our watch, everything that transpired in and before the bankruptcy.
Do you think things could have been done differently since you did come in late?
That'd be so unfair of me to second guess. We're trying to look forward, and our union our workers continue to stand ready to work with whoever wins these auctions for the brands. We think we continue to be able to add an enormous lot of value, help returns for a buyer. We got a capable, highly experienced workforce who's eager to be working with winning bidders of these brands.
You feel pretty confident that all the brands will find homes?
I do feel very good that the brands are going to find a home, and I'm hoping that the buyers are going to want to maximize their returns and work with our workers.
How quickly does it all get worked out at this point, Peter?
I think it could happen very quickly.
Next couple of weeks or months are we talking?
Oh, I think over the next couple of weeks to a month, there's going to be a lot more clarity, and I'm hoping this thing will move briskly, and we're certainly hopeful to be a part of the solution for each of these brands.
A different industry that you've been involved in, and it's a story we've all watched very closely, AMR. I mean, the airline industry is, as we know, has its ups and downs an awful lot, and we've seen a lot of bankruptcies. AMR, though, you are advising or are advising the largest union in the AMR deal. Talk to me about that process, I should say.
Sure. It's funny. You've hit on the only two of the three unions we've ever represented. We usually represent companies.
You don't normally do that.
That's right. We represent companies, boards of directors, and equity. So you've just hit on two of the three.
What's different about representing the unions?
Well, it's a change of pace for us, and because we know, I actually co-authored the book with the definitive book with one of my partners on distressed investment banking. We know all the tricks and strategies that debtors employ. So, I think we have a leg up when we're advising a union. But in American Airlines, it's been under the difficult circumstances, it's been a tremendous success so far for our client, which is all we care about. And the union leadership of the TWU was smart enough and visionary enough to employ the Gordian strategy of options and optionality. So we didn't go down just one path. We negotiated hard with American on our own standalone basis, and we refused to let it go to a point where the judge would rule on the efficacy of our labor contract. The other two unions did do that. We chose not to. Meanwhile, we also were negotiating with potential bidders, including U.S. Air. So we're trying to maximize the best result for our workers by employing a strategy of negotiating with everybody and not being hung on just one strategy.
You know, it's interesting that you say, because you're not typically representing unions usually on the corporate side of things. There's a lot of debate about the role of unions in our country at this point. Based on your experience and the negotiations that you've been involved in, what is the role of unions in corporate America today?
I still think that there is a role for unions in this country. I think the old playbook of unions believing they're going to get everything they bargained for on the one hand, and the management playbook of let's blame the unions for everything and take it out of their hides. I think both sides need to come to a different accommodation and working relationship, but I still think that there's a role for unions in this country, and I happen to think, perhaps the subject of another discussion, I happen to think that there's a real role for private equity firms and unions to partner in a new paradigm.
Expect to see more of that going forward?
I hope so. We feel at Gordian, we feel really strongly about that possibility, and we're hopeful that that's going to play out going forward.